Hey man, let's talk about something that cuts deep. Being ignored by a woman you actually care about. Maybe she used to text you back instantly. Maybe you had something real going and now it's like you don't even exist. Radio silence, cold shoulder, the whole deal. And I get it. It stings like hell. But here's what most guys don't realize. When a woman starts ignoring you, that's not the end of the story. That's actually the beginning of your comeback. See, most men, when they get ignored, they do exactly the wrong thing. They chase harder, they send more texts, they try to explain themselves. But what if I told you there's a way to flip the entire script? What if instead of begging for her attention, you could make her desperately want yours back? Today, we're breaking down the exact psychological triggers that make a woman regret ignoring you. And trust me, this isn't about games or manipulation. This is about becoming the kind of man she can't afford to lose. So buckle up, because by the end of this, you'll know exactly how to turn her silence into her biggest mistake. Let's get into it. Here's the thing about human psychology. We always want what we can't have. And right now, she's ignoring you because she thinks you're always going to be there, waiting in the background like some backup plan. But what happens when the backup plan disappears? I'm talking about going completely dark, not just on her, but everywhere she might see you. No more liking her Instagram posts, no more watching her stories, definitely no more late night texts asking if she's okay. You become a ghost. And here's the psychology behind it. When someone suddenly can't reach you, when they can't get that dopamine hit from your attention, their brain starts working overtime. She'll start wondering where you went, what you're doing, who you're with, and that wondering, that's the first crack in her armor. Because suddenly, you're not the guy who was always available. You're the guy who has better things to do. And women respect men who have better things to do. While she's playing games with your emotions, you need to be playing a completely different game, the game of self-improvement. But here's the key. It can't be secret. It has to be visible. Remember, she's probably still watching you from a distance, through mutual friends, through social media, through the grapevine. So you hit the gym harder than you ever have. You focus on your career like your life depends on it. You pick up new hobbies, you travel, you become interesting. And here's what's crucial. You document it, not for her, but for you, but knowing she might see it. You post that gym selfie showing your progress. You share that promotion at work. You show yourself living your best life. And women, they notice everything. If she sees you thriving without her, if she sees other people respecting and admiring you, suddenly she starts questioning her decision to ignore you. Because now you're not just the guy she dismissed. You're the guy who's becoming someone she wishes she didn't let go. This one's powerful and it works every single time. Women are incredibly social creatures. They pay attention to how other people, especially other women, react to you. So while she's giving you the cold shoulder, you need to be getting warm attention from everywhere else. I'm not saying go out and date her best friend, but I am saying become the kind of man that other women notice. Maybe it's having deep conversations with female co-workers. Maybe it's being genuinely friendly and charming to women in your social circle. The point is, when she hears through the grapevine that other women think you're attractive, interesting, worth their time, that hits different. Because here's what happens in her mind. She starts thinking, wait, if all these other women see something in him, what did I miss? And that question, that doubt, that's what eats at her, especially late at night when she's scrolling through her phone wondering what you're up to. Now, I'm not saying you should stalk her or show up everywhere she goes, but there's something powerful about strategic visibility. Maybe it's going to that coffee shop you know she frequents. Maybe it's showing up to that party you know she'll be at. But here's the key. You're not going there for her. You're going there for you, and when you do see her, you don't ignore her like she ignored you. That would be petty. Instead, you're polite, you're confident, you're the bigger person. You say hello, you're genuinely friendly, and then you move on to more interesting conversations with more interesting people. This drives women crazy because she expected you to either avoid her completely or come crawling back. Instead, you're treating her like any other person in the room. Not special, not important, just another face in the crowd. And for someone who's used to being the center of your attention, that's a wake-up call. Here's the ultimate move. While she's playing childish games, you build an empire. I'm talking about becoming the kind of man that when people hear your name, they think success, respect, admiration. You focus on your purpose, your goals, your dreams with laser focus. You start that business you've been talking about. You take that trip you've been planning. You learn that skill you've been putting off. You become so busy building your future that her ignorance becomes irrelevant. And here's what's beautiful about this approach. It's not really about her anymore. It's about you becoming the best version of yourself. But the side effect, the byproduct, is that she starts hearing about your success, she starts seeing your growth, and she starts realizing that while she was playing games, you were playing life on a completely different level. And that realization that she chose to ignore someone who was destined for greatness, that's going to haunt her. But here's the most important part of all of this. By the time she realizes her mistake, by the time she comes crawling back with her "Hey stranger" texts and her "I've been thinking about you" messages, you need to be in a place where you genuinely don't need her validation anymore, because true power isn't making her regret ignoring you. True power is getting to a point where, whether she regrets it or not, doesn't affect your peace of mind. You've built something so solid, so fulfilling, that her opinion becomes just noise in the background. And ironically, that's when you become most attractive to her. When you don't need her, when you're complete without her, when you've become the kind of man who attracts love, respect, and admiration naturally. Look, the truth is you can't force someone to regret their actions, but you can become so undeniably valuable that their loss becomes obvious to everyone, including them. So stop chasing, stop explaining, stop trying to convince her of your worth. Instead, show her, show the world, show yourself what you're really capable of. Because at the end of the day, whether she regrets ignoring you or not, you'll have something far more precious. You'll have your self-respect, your growth, and a life so fulfilling that her attention becomes optional, not essential. And my guy, that's when you've truly won the game. Remember, it's not about revenge. It's about evolution. Become so focused on your own greatness that her ignorance becomes irrelevant, and watch how quickly irrelevant becomes regret.